We got shirts on sale. Express your Evolution, Pokemon, and Shepherd's Delight by buying a Which One starter shirt, Evolution family shirt, and Shepherd's Delight t-shirts and hoodies. And for the next 2 days, you can also get them for 30% off. Link for these shirts will be in the description below. Mystic Sage is also back, and to kick things off, starting on August 1st, we're going to be uploading 31 days of anime content straight. Go subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. Link for Mystic Sage will be in the description and in the ad card. So over the course of the Pokemon anime, there's always been one group of people that have traveled alongside Ash to every single region. I'm not talking about companions, however. I'm of course talking about the one and only Team Rocket. This group is always up to no good, constantly trying to find ways to steal Ash's Pikachu. They never really succeed though, as the plot wouldn't allow that. In addition to coming up with crazy schemes, however, they also utilize the different Pokemon they catch in each of the regions. But just like Team Rocket themselves, there's more of their Pokemon than just using them to steal Pikachu. Team Rocket has shown that they can truly care for their Pokemon and even have really close bonds with them. Today, I'm going to be going through all of them and be giving my opinions on all of Team Rocket's Pokemon. Now, I will be making some exceptions for the list, being Meowth, Bewear, and Stufful. While Meowth is a team member in his own right and is not owned by Jessie or James, he is still a Pokemon and should be talked about. As for Bewear and Stufful, while neither of them are owned by Jessie or James, they still are important Pokemon to Team Rocket as it travels with them and helps them out all the time. So they are definitely worth being on this list. Alrighty, with that being said, let's blast off into my opinions. This is the star Team Rocket Pokemon, being Meowth. This is Team Rocket's poster child, just like how Pikachu is the poster child for the entire Pokemon series. Meowth, I can guarantee, has just as big of an impact as Pikachu does, if not just as much. Meowth is just a staple character in the series. How could I not love it to death? Meowth, that's right! Who doesn't like Meowth? He's got one of the best backstories of any character in the Pokemon anime. He fell in love with Meowsy, had some killer lines in Pokemon the first movie, and has a heart of gold. Meowth even learned how to talk, and how it learned to talk is one of the most amazing things ever. Man, I just love Meowth and everything about him. I'm glad that he's made such an impact on the Pokemon anime. Truly an amazing and well-developed character. This is Jessie's original Pokemon from the first season of the anime. Arbok started off as an Ekans and then evolved into Arbok about halfway through this series. Arbok is my favorite poison type, and fun fact, the reason it is because of Jessie's. Jessie and her Arbok just had a bond that was so heartwarming and touching that it made me tear up so bad when she had to listen in Hoenn. There was a poacher in Hoenn that was poaching Arbok and Weezing, and Jessie told hers to help out the other Arbok to escape. And the moment where she is just getting beat up for Arbok just makes me cry so much. I love Arbok and it will always hold a special place in my Pokemon memory book. Weezing is much like Arbok for me. It's one of those Pokemon where you have to have seen the original Pokemon anime all the way till the release of it in Hoenn, where some Weezing were being poached. James had a very special bond with his Weezing, just like how Jessie had a special bond with her Arbok. Weezing was just more hilarious because of how funny it sounded every time it used Smokescreen to run away from Ash and the gang. There were also a few times it exploded, and it was just sad but funny to see how it just blew up. But yeah, I love Weezing, and once again, I wept when James released it. I don't think anyone could not cry during that scene. It's just such a beautiful moment in Pokemon history for sure. I really hope that one day we get to see Arbok and Weezing again, or some other throwback would be nice too. While James didn't have this Pokemon for long, it really was iconic for the time that he had it. James bought the Magikarp from his salesman on board the SSN instead of what he thought was a solid gold Pokeball. He thought that he would be able to breed that Magikarp indefinitely, making him wildly rich. But as we all know, the Magikarp turned out to be useless. When Team Rocket became stranded at sea, they contemplated eating it, which was kind of disturbing. But it was even useless as food. This pissed James off and made him kick it, which in turn pissed Magikarp off and made it evolve into Gyarados. The group tried to run away from the angry group of Gyarados. However, that failed and they ended up falling into their Twister attack and got stranded on the island of giant Pokemon. Yeah, those were a good few episodes, and if Team Rocket had been patient, they would have had a very powerful Pokemon in their arsenal. Oh man, who remembers the episode Holy Matrimony, where we were introduced to James's fiancée Jezebel, and we met his best friend, Growly the Growlithe. Pokemon legit spent a lot of time giving us details of James and this prized Pokemon of his. We found that James had Growly ever since he was a little kid, and found out it had its own house on James's parents' estate. It's crazy to think about that a family would spend that much money on a Pokemon's house, but I mean hey, if you can afford it, that's one big doghouse. I wish we could have seen more from Growly, but alas, I doubt that will happen. I wouldn't even mind if it was just a small flashback. Lickitung is pretty cool in the sense that it was the first Pokemon that Jessie and Team Rocket as a whole had ever caught in the anime. Lickitung wasn't particularly useful in the anime, but I don't know, there was just something about it that I liked. Though eventually Lickitung would be accidentally traded away for a Pokemon that became very iconic and a staple to Team Rocket. Ah, James's Victory Bell. Who could forget this lovable thing? It always tried swallowing him whole, which was honestly hilarious to see. James didn't use it a lot at first, but it eventually became one of his primary Pokemon. However, he ended up losing his Victory Bell when James and Meowth forced him to trade away for a Weeping Bell in the hopes to use it to capture more Pokemon. You could tell he was upset by this, and I honestly felt so bad for him. I wonder if he'll ever get it back one day. So, as I just mentioned, James traded his Victory Bell for a Weeping Bell from the Magikarp salesman in the hopes that it could use Sweet Scent to help them capture more Pokemon. Well, that Weeping Bell eventually evolved into a Victory Bell and started to attack Jessie, which made her attack it with Arbok and send it flying. Poor James. He was forced to get rid of a Pokemon he liked, and then lost the Pokemon he got for it. The Magikarp salesman ended up kicking James' old Victory Bell as well when it wouldn't obey him. I guess there is somewhat of a happy ending for the two Victory Bells. They both met each other in the air and fell in love. How romantic. Pretty much nearly iconic as Meowth, we have Jessie's Wobbuffet, and this Pokemon is just so derpy and dumb, but that's the reason why I and a lot of other fans love Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet wasn't present in the Unova days, and that's one of the reasons why it sucked, is because Wobbuffet wasn't there. Come on, you can't tell me you don't love hearing Wobbuffet just out of nowhere for some laughs. This Pokemon just pops into the most awkward situations, and I love it for that reason. Jessie may also not really like Wobbuffet on the surface, but deep down, you know she really cares for it. She has a big heart, and deep down, she loves her Wobbuffet. It's just a comedic Pokemon at this point. Having it on Team Rocket, even in the Pokemon Cinema and anime, is still pretty hilarious and awesome. Plus, I mean, let's be real. It's one of Team Rocket's most powerful Pokemon, using Mirror Coat and Counter. The way it's used is pretty cool. I'm kind of neutral of Cacnea, to be honest. I think that James owning this Pokemon was definitely a very unique touch, and I find it utterly adorable. I'm just not a huge fan of the constant hugging the James and where he gets bombarded with needles. It's still a cute Pokemon though, that's for sure. Jessie's Viper's pretty awesome. I cannot deny that it's pretty amazing. Did it replace Arbok for me? No, absolutely not. Arbok cannot be replaced that easily, but it's a dope Pokemon nonetheless. I like the episode when Jessie first got Viper and it bit off her hair and took her ice ball. That was kind of cute. Okay, I cried so hard when Jessie released her Dustox. It also doesn't help that Dustox is one of my favorite bug Pokemon. The way how Jessie just weeped over releasing her Dustox to the shiny one just broke me as a kid. So I love Dustox for this reason. I honestly forgot Chimecho existed as a Pokemon, let alone remember James owned one in the Hoenn era. I love how Chimecho was kind of like Hoenn's miniature Wobbuffet and how it would pop in and just go chime chime. It's just a precious little bell. I also love the bond Chimecho and James shared. Mime Jr. I always remembered as super precious and adorable. It was one of the cutest Pokemon that ever made its way on the Team Rocket. The backstory Mime Jr. and James shared was definitely a precious one at that too. It definitely is an interesting Pokemon to have in Team Rocket because of how cute it is. But I mean, hey, if it works, it works. This Pokemon is just a big, I don't even know what to say. Team Rocket owned a Carnivine? I vaguely remember, I guess. I remember as a kid I used to do Navine. Other than that, I just remember it biting stuff. Other than that, my mind kind of just draws a blank with Carnivine. Yanmega is definitely a super cool Pokemon, and Jessie even had one. I really don't remember a whole lot about Yanmega, but I do remember it was one of Jessie's most powerful Pokemon. I also remember it being powerful in contests too. From what I can remember, it actually carried Jessie a lot. It had some pretty cool acts, and even gave Dawn a run for her money, so way to go Yanmega. You rock, and yeah, I have this Pokemon. Jessie's Woobat was a bit of a bully chasing after Joltik. It does fit her personality and would have been great to see her catch this Pokemon. He also helps find Meloetta as well, so he is helpful. But in the end, Woobat is given to Giovanni. Fun fact, Woobat is the only second Pokemon that Team Rocket owned that did not emerge from its Pokeball. He was just an okay Pokemon. I'm just not a big fan of Woobat in general anyways, and I think the design is blah. Zubat and Golbat are better. Well, James is the softer of the two capturing his Yamask by feeding it. Literally, he captures Yamask by feeding it. Yamask, like James, is super friendly, but that can lead to some dangerous situations. In fact, he gets kidnapped by a group of Litwick. Yamask also wants to help out James, even going as far as to help capture Meloetta. He also uses Will-O-Wisp to surround Ash and the gang. This Pokemon is super attached to its trainer, and I mean, that's all I have to say about this Pokemon. Well, this is clearly a female Pokemon. Furlish is a very mischievous Pokemon at that, but it doesn't really have any issue following Jessie's orders. Her first appearance is the first time Team Rocket is back from Kanto, along with James's Amoonguss. She is also the only Pokemon that Team Rocket owned that has a distinct gender difference. Wobbuffet and Dustox at the time of their appearance on the show did not have gender differences. She was a cute Pokemon, but not much else stood out about her. Amoonguss wasn't used a whole lot, and to be honest, it's kind of forgettable. I mean, he was a super serious Pokemon in and out of battle, unlike many of James's previous Pokemon, but it really didn't seem to bond with James all that much. It's the only grass Pokemon not to attack him when released from its ball. It appeared at the same time Jessie's Furlish did, and it was in a few episodes and some battles after that, but there's just nothing really to say much about it. So yeah, I mean, it's cool, I guess. Inkay is another Pokemon that became a companion of James by the means of food. It had previously tried to steal Team Rocket's food, and James came up with the plan to use the food it tried to steal as bait in order for him to catch it. Pretty smart. From then on, it seemed to be rather loyal to James and Team Rocket, having a strong enough bond with James to the point where it could break James free of the evil Malamar's hypnosis. It's a cute and clever little squid, and its friendship with James is pretty touching. Despite Inkay being the more playful of the two, Jessie's Gourgeist is rather energetic and happy-go-lucky. It's pretty cute how often she would dance and spin around in battles and get excited from being proud of herself doing well. It was also sweet how Jessie defended Gourgeist after being rejected by Count Pumpka's Pumpkaboo. Their bond was pretty cute, so I like this little Pokemon. Yeah, Jessie got this temporary in a trade for her Gourgeist. She traded Pumpkaboo thinking that she might be able to Mega Evolve the Mawile, but after seeing her Pumpkaboo evolve into Gourgeist, she really wanted it back. Mawile is cute and I actually would have loved that she would have kept it, but I'm kinda glad she realized her mistake and got her Gourgeist back. Mimikyu is such a cool Pokemon for Team Rocket to have. I do feel bad for Meowth though because it is seen underneath its shroud a few times and it nearly almost died. But I love the attitude that Mimikyu has, where it just stops everything to beat the crud out of Pikachu. I love how Jessie's Mimikyu sticks to the personality of her typical Mimikyu, but is also a really compassionate Pokemon for Jessie when she needs it to cooperate. Plus, I mean, I just love Mimikyu in general. Team Rocket getting one just adds more reasons as to why I love it so much. Marini is actually really adorable in the anime. When it first saw James, it attacked him because it thought it was a Corsola. It then injected him with poison, making him look like a Marini, which caused it to fall in love with him. Marini even assisted with giving Team Rocket their first victory over Ash, so it's definitely one of the better Pokemon under Team Rocket's wing. There are so many great moments with Marini throughout the Pokemon anime, like when its first love tried to take her away from James. They fought over her, but ultimately she decided to choose James in the end. Their dynamic is just so adorable, and it really makes me like Marini a lot more than most of Team Rocket's other Pokemon. And finally, we have Bewear and Stufful. For a while, it was just Bewear constantly dragging Team Rocket away at the end of a skirmish, and Ash and friends as well as taking care of them. But Stufful was introduced as her baby a bit later on in the series, and started traveling with the group ever since. It just seems that Bewear was distraught from losing its child, and so the natural motherly instinct kicked in when it started interacting with Team Rocket. I really like this relationship between them. Bewear being the caretaker looking out for them, and making sure they don't get into too much trouble. Because I think she sees what we all see in Team Rocket. They might be bad guys, but I think deep down they have good hearts and still need to be looked after as well. Well, those are my opinions on all of Team Rocket's Pokemon. They have surprisingly had a decent amount of Pokemon over the years, even if some of them were just temporary or only served the purpose of getting more important Pokemon, like with Wobbuffet and Gourgeist. And while they may not own Meowth or the Bewear family, they were definitely worth talking about, as they have played important roles in the time for quite a while now. And regardless of their various actions, you gotta love these goofballs and the Pokemon they've had over the years. But what are your favorite Team Rocket Pokemon? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and Nintendo content like shiny hunting, showdown battles, Explorers of Sky, Zelda, Fire Emblem, Smash Brothers, Borderlands, you name it, I play it. Want to support me further in Game Call Perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Pal491, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weezosted, and Sodden Grider did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrian, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.